Hello, 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 everyone. It's Betsy here. And today we are going to solve some quadratic equations by factoring. All right, I've already done some of these in some of my other videos, but I just want to practice it a little more. So let's get started. All right, first of all, we have to remember, what does the equation have to look like before we factor it? Well, it needs to be in quadratic form. If you look up at the top here in blue, I put it in quadratic form, which means everything needs to be on one side, and on the other side, there needs to be a 0. So when I look at this equation, 2x squared minus 5x equals 3. Doesn't equal 0, so we need to move some stuff. All right, the 2x squared, that's good, leave it alone. Oh, I don't know how I did that, but got a little arrow there. All right, so I'm going to leave the 2x squared alone. We're going to leave the negative 5x alone, but that positive 3, to put it on the other side, it's a positive 3 because there's no minus in front of it. We're going to subtract it from both sides. So minus 3 equals 0. Whew! Now we got everything on one side. On the other side, it equals 0. We've got it in quadratic form. This is our quadratic equation now, you guys. So let's take a look. How do I know it's a quadratic equation? Because the degree, which is the highest exponent, is a 2. Yes. If the degree of your equation is 2, the biggest exponent has to be a 2. All right? That big exponent there is a 2. Now, is there a GCF, a greatest common factor we can take out of there? Well, if I look at 2, 5, and 3, they're all prime numbers. So the only thing that's going to go into all of them is 1. And that doesn't do us any good. That doesn't change anything. Let's look at the variable x. Do all the terms have an x? Nope, the negative 3 doesn't. Therefore, we can't take out an x. So the next thing to do, let's make our set of parentheses. There's our first set. Here's our second set. So we can go right into the factoring. Now, if you remember, and if you don't, that's all right. That's what we're here for. This times this has to equal this. So that being the case, the only thing that multiplies the 2 is 2 and 1. So I'll put a 2 and a 1. I don't need to put the 1 there, okay? If you want to put the 1 there, you can, if that helps you. I don't like to put it there. All right, then we also know that x times x gives us the x squared. All right, now you also, if you remember, this number right here times this number has to equal negative 3. The only thing that multiplies the 3 is 1 and 3, right? So it could be 1 and 3, or it could be 3 and 1. Now, I'm going to do it the right way because I don't want to confuse anybody. So I'm going to put the 3 here and the 1 here. Now watch. I'm going to change the color here. Let's change it to this color. All right. When you multiply the outside 2x times 3 is 6x. When you multiply the inside 2, 1 times x is 1x. Well, when we add these, we've got to get the middle term here, which is negative 5. To be negative, the bigger number is going to have to be negative. So this is going to have to be negative. So I'm going to put the negative there, which means the other one is a positive, because a negative times a positive is going to give me that negative. What do you think? So again, this number, or this term times this term, has to equal this one. This term times this term has to equal this one. All right, that would get you a good start. All right, let me erase some of this out of here. Get out of our way a little bit. All right, now we're not done because we're solving these. We want to know what x is. So I'm going to say, we know that 0 times, doesn't matter what this is, would be 0. Just like we know if this is 0 times whatever this is, it's going to equal 0. So we need to see what x has to be in each set of parentheses to make that inside 0. So let's take a look. Let's get rid of this, get this out of our way. Just wanted to show you that. So I want to know, when does 2x plus 1 equals 0? And when does x minus 3 equals 0? Remember, there's nothing between these parentheses here, so that means times. So on this first one here, let's solve for x. I'm going to solve by getting rid of the 1. So I get 2x equals 0 minus 1 is -1. These cancel, right? Now, I don't want 2x. I want x. They're timesing, so we're going to divide. Whatever we do to one side, we got to do to the other. So x equals -1/2. Oops. -1/2. There we go. So if you come back up here and you put -1/2 in there for x, well, half of 2 is 1, and it's negative, so -1. And then you add this one, you get 0. And anything that equals 0 times another number is going to give you a 0. So it doesn't matter what the x is in the other one, because if this right here equals 0, 0 times anything will be 0. Just like the other one, x minus 3, what makes that 0? Well, if we add 3, x equals 3. So if I put 3 in here, 3 minus 3 is 0. And 0 times anything is 0. So those are our two answers. How are we doing? Who? Oh, the next one doesn't look too bad. As you look at the next one, it's a little different. You know why? Because they already factored it for us. So the hard part is gone. So we know that there's nothing between these parentheses, so that means times. And 0 times anything is 0. So I want to know what makes this 0. And I want to know what makes this 0. So x minus 6. So what minus 6 is 0? Yes, 6. So that's one of our values of x. If you go up there and you put in, let me change the color here, 6. 6 minus 6 is 0, and 0 times anything is 0. All right, so that one works. I'm going to erase that out of there. Now, let's go the other way. I need to know what makes this other one 0. So subtract 5. We get 2x equals -5. But I don't want 2x equals. What do I want? X equals. So they're timesing, so I'm going to divide. When I do that, I get x equals -5/2. So if you put -5/2 in for this x, you're going to get -5 plus 5, which is 0. And 0 times anything is 0. So we got our two answers. Yay! All right, that's awesome. I hope you learned something, and let's move on to the next video.